Good evening, everybody. Welcome to Justice for All. I am your host, Jocelyn. It is hot as Hades here, 99 degrees. There was a breeze. It was a nice warm breeze, but there was a breeze and I'll take it. So today was tough. Yesterday, I think it was about 95, 96, but a lot more humidity. And when your sweat is sweating, you know it's hot. I mean, it's to the point where you just go outside and you want to throw up. We know July and August gets hot, but wow, it's been a number of summers. I think since like 2020, when they really started locking people away and messing around with the weather, rain, whether you could go in, whether you could go out. Funny how it all just sort of goes right back to that exact same date. I think Trump's just showing us and giving the evidence of how 2020 was, the kickoff time. It's been happening a lot longer, but that's when its nasty, evil, stinking head popped up and hasn't gone away. So, time to do whack-a-Satan. We don't need to do whack-a-mole. We need to do whack-a-Satan, whack an evil person, and we need to just knock them out to Cuba, Alcatraz, wherever it is. No courts here in New Hampshire for these politicians, legislators, and CEOs that are dirty, 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 and corrupt. They need to go bye-bye. Military tribunals, Cuba, Alcatraz, wherever those other ones are in other countries. And any of the illegals that have committed more crimes than just crossing the border need to go to Alligator, Alcatraz, and El Salvador, which Trump can now do once again. We, the taxpayers, have been funding all this illegal criminal activity, giving them everything that our seniors aren't getting, that our homeless aren't getting, and our veterans aren't getting. Why is an illegal, a criminal, getting things they never paid for, never worked for, they're not a citizen, and have no rights to according to the Constitution of any state, let alone the federal Constitution? Somebody explain that to me. And preferably not a Democrat, because the only thing you get from there are insults, profanity, dumbass comments, and just diarrhea of the mouth. And quite frankly, I'm kind of tired of that. Blustering, speaking over you, listening to Crockett there. My God, acting like she's from, the streets. She's a little rich girl, just like AOC lied about it. They grew up in very nice neighborhoods. So did, what's her name? Kamala. Private schools, private colleges. Yeah, hung out with the best of the best. Not that they'd be the best of the best to us, but monetarily, politically, for their side. Just kind of sick of it. Really, really sick of it. Just got a couple things I want to cover after my show tonight, about 9:15 on Telegram. My broadcasters, we are going to have Ron Flosser with Real to Real Talk. So join us there, participate in the conversation, raise your hand. One of the platforms where we actually let people speak. Stick to the subject. Don't hog the show. Don't, be rude to the host. And it'll all be good, because we love to hear everybody's opinions and what they have to say, but stay on topic. And again, that's 9:15 right after my show. So a couple little comments. So the New York City shooting that everybody's talking about. I was watching the videos with my mom just a little while ago, and there's a couple of clips of about 10 to 20 New York police officers surrounding, kind of running with a woman, a civilian, handcuffed. Who is she? Where are they running her from? Why is she handcuffed? Why is she part of all of this? Why are you showing us this video? And then we've got other clips where they put out that there was a white man with a what was it? Guns of war. I forget. There's a phrase that they use, and he's entering the building. Well, it turned around that he wasn't white, absolutely positively wasn't white, and went in. But yet, the blame went from, it's a white guy with a big ass rifle, to, this is why we need gun control. This is why guns kill. Could you make up your mind? Well, no, you always kept it this way. If the person's white, then, you know, they're murderers and all this other stuff. If they're not white, then it's the gun's fault. It's the person's fault every time, regardless of color, creed, and religion. Get that through your heads. But what do? Drama, 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 incite violence. It's insane. So want to know who this woman is, why she was arrested, why she's handcuffed, and why nobody's saying a single thing about it. Aline Haba has been reinstated as the New Jersey AG. Yes, yes, yes. Thank you, Trump. Thank you, Pam Bondi. Judge Janine is going to stay on as the permanent District of Columbia AG. Yes, yes, yes. Thank you, Trump. Thank you, Pam Bondi. Thank you, Judge Janine and Alina. A phrase that just keeps coming back, repeating. 2019, we have it all. And we are seeing every single second of every single day, every piece of media, everywhere we go. It's true, they have it all, because now we're seeing spinning that, oh, we don't have the list. We don't have this. We don't have that. Trump's got it all. And as he exposes and as these people start blathering, because they've been set up, it just gives more evidence to the AG. It gives more evidence to take them down. And I'm loving it. They have it all, but these people believe the spinning going on. And funny enough, it's coming from their own side, the left side. And they're believing it. Oh, they don't have the list. They don't have the list. Oh, they don't have this. They don't have that. And they start talking. Well, good. They won't find my name. They won't this. Do you not think the NSA isn't listening? Keep on talking. Keep on digging that hole deeper. And then last but not least, here in New Hampshire, Governor Ayotte signed a bill that Chinese people can, we can't have these billionaires coming in and buying farmland. Question, Governor, how come they're buying businesses and big buildings? Two specifically in Nashua. My number one, I don't think any foreigner should be allowed to buy any land or any property in this country whatsoever. Period. End of conversation. My second problem is the two buildings that were bought in Nashua have not been reassessed at the price they were bought for. And you're going to see where this is going when I have my guest on. The one building was bought for 2 times more the asking price, has not been reassessed, and the taxes have not been adjusted accordingly. The second business was bought for 4 times the asking price, has not been reassessed, and the taxes have not been paid according to the price it was bought for. Hello, Mayor Donches. What do you got to say about that? Everybody's losing their mind about the water, the water, the water. Anybody wants to poison our water, all they got to do is walk in there and drop something. Should there be more security and whatever? Yeah. The bigger problem is thousands of tax dollars not being collected on these 2 buildings. Why did one sell for 2 times, Daniel Webster College, 2 times the price? And why did the other one, which is the bottling company, I never can remember the name, Fong Jong Nuong, I don't know, whatever it is, sold for 4 times? Whatever the reason, they should have been reassessed immediately and the taxes made to the appropriate amount. But no, in the city of Nashua, they are reassessing single residential homes over and over and over again, and absolutely beating up the citizens and the taxpayers when huge businesses are having done. But, that's okay. Let's just pay our taxes. I don't want anybody mad at me. I don't want anybody not to like me. We got to be not. I don't know what's wrong with people, but whoop, 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 nothing in between there. And you know what? When you don't pay attention, when you don't know what the Constitution says, when you don't know what the real laws are and what you're talking about, you need to step aside. And you know what? Maybe not vote, because you're screwing it up for the rest of us that are paying attention. I never thought I would say that. Never thought I would say that. But if you're not going to pay attention, and you're not going to know what the Constitution is, and you're not going to even know what your own rights are, stop screwing it up for the rest of us. I don't care that you like this person and this guy's really nice and I could have a beer with him. That was okay in like 1812. It's not okay today. Could give a rat's ass whether you want to have a margarita or a beer with them. That does not decide who they are, their voting record, their personal life, how they've behaved, have they been arrested, they're working as a legislator for $100 and yet they've got multi-million-dollar houses. That needs to be questioned. And the other thing you have to get through your thick skulls is we are the employers of all of them. They answer to us. You wanted to be a boss, you wanted to have people listen to you, you dropped the ball big time. And not only that, you beat us up that keep reminding you about it, that we're the boss, we the people. The Constitution of your state protects your enumerated rights. And the Constitution of the United States is in tandem, in concert with your state constitution. You don't know that, you shouldn't be voting. Just saying. On that note, let's go forward to my opening for hypocrisy and lies and get started on a couple of pictures and videos I have before I bring on my guest, Miss Regina Barnes, because this girl's on fire. She was up in Concord, and she was serving the governor yet again to instruct her, the employee, as to what she should be doing and how she should be following the Constitution of the state of New Hampshire and the instructions from her constituents, we the citizens, we the voters, we the taxpayers. All right, let's roll, Chris. Hypocrisy and lies. Right, nice and short and sweet. Video number 1. It's a little long, but take a listen and we'll talk about it right after.
So a pro-choice judge in New Hampshire just gave unborn children federal rights. Yeah, the same people who scream, "My body, my choice," just walked into a federal court and asked a judge to protect unborn babies under the Constitution. Let's go ahead and break this down. So a class action lawsuit was filed to block Trump's executive order ending birthright citizenship for kids born to illegal immigrants. And the plaintiffs argued that it would cause irreparable harm to the unborn children of those immigrants. So they needed that legal protection right now. And Judge Joseph Laplanti said, yeah, sure. So he certified the case, and it explicitly includes unborn children in it. That means that for the first time ever in a federal courtroom, unborn babies were granted legal standing under the 14th Amendment. And whether the left meant to do it or not, that is a massive pro-life movement win. Because now we have a ruling out there that states that the government cannot harm the unborn because they are considered a person under the law. This isn't just semantics. This is precedent. And now the door is wide open for future lawsuits that protect the unborn, not just in immigration, but all across the board. And the irony of this all is this didn't even involve a single conservative. These were pro-abortion Democrats that are trying to stop Trump that just accidentally argued unborn children deserve constitutional protection. Y'all played yourselves. And I'm going to say this loud and for everybody to hear. Life begins at conception. And now so does legal protection of it. This was fun, y'all. Have a day.
Absolutely one of the best videos I have seen in a long time. You know the saying, you shot yourself in the foot? They did. They actually shot themselves in the rear end. No, unborn children have no rights. They're just a clump of cells. So how did we get into federal court here in jolly old New Hampshire? Live free or die. The left went in, as she said, and argued that the unborn children of illegals have constitutional rights. They have birthright citizenship. Well, if they do, so does every other clump of cells, baby in utero, have the right to live. This is priceless. This needs to go everywhere. You can't make this bleep up. I had to open with that, and that girl, that lady is absolutely fabulous. Nailed it. Told you the way it is. And I think that is probably one of the greatest pieces of news we could get. And it started with Trump ending birthright citizenship. It really is too funny. It really is too funny. And God, that one is being saved. Life begins at conception, so does legal protection. That is very catchy, JM. I mean, that kind of sounds like a bumper sticker to me or a t-shirt. I love it. Actually, maybe I should make that the open of my show for a while. I like that. Thanks, JM. All right, let's roll on to picture one. Picture one, the SAVE Act. So here we go. The SAVE Act officially passed in the House, which requires proof of citizenship in order to vote. Okay, well, we thought that's what you always had to do, but obviously with the automatic licenses that were being given out and handed out, Social Security numbers, benefits to all the illegals that were coming in under Biden. And I'm sure it happened before. Actually, I'm pretty sure it happened with Obama because I had a friend that worked in Portsmouth, and there was an office there where illegals were coming in from Somalia and all other places, being flown in, had no ID whatsoever, and Obama had them making them licenses, Social Security numbers, and passports. They had no idea who they were. They were fabricating them out of the air, just pulling them right out of their ear, making this shit up. So this is, it's been happening. And we heard that the Chinese 2020 were sending hundreds of thousands of ballots and driver's license to students in colleges with education visas, college visas, so that they could go vote. They had it. They found it. They have it all. So it's of no wonder. It's no wonder. And 208 of the Democrats voted against it. We've got to clean up 2020. You can't go ahead till that's fixed because the huge list of illegal shenanigans that were going on is long and wide and deep, kind of like the swamp. All right, let's kick on to picture 1B, please, Chris. The wall that was supposed to have started and be finished over 4 years ago, that Trump was dragged into court twice and they shut down the building of it. But what I love it is it's high, it's wide. I'm not sure if it's electrified, but that sounds really good to me, and it should be. What I like is that it's on any terrain. In San Diego, they did it up Devil's Notch. They are putting it everywhere. There is no terrain that they cannot conquer with these walls, and it needs to be every inch of the border. And when they're done, let's start the northern border, unless Canada is going to become officially, because we know unofficially it's the 51st state, wink, wink, nod, nod. Let's officially make it the 51st state, because we all know, remember what Frosty said. Yes, Pink Floyd sounds much better. Yeah, every brick, was that the one, every brick in the wall? Yeah. That Frosty had told us that in Ottawa, that when you call a certain department in the parliament, that it referred back to the DOD in Washington, D.C. Not going to give all the details out, but that's it in a nutshell. I'm sure there's more details, but that's not my baby. So, and the Crown's been making decisions for Parliament. Well, why isn't Canada and its parliamentary members making decisions for the Canadian people? Doesn't that make you question something? Yeah. And how many billion has America been subsidizing Canada with, to which they returned 100, 200, 300% tariffs on milk and butter and certain things like that? But still taking the multi-billions of dollars to help keep them afloat. So to me, I think they're our 51st state and always were, but they have made sure they have hidden that from us for decades. And I'm hoping that's about to change. Kicking on to picture 1C, Dinesh D'Souza. Love this man. So it's just really funny that he's a filmmaker and he went to jail for a film that he made that exposed Barack. 2016, he called it Obama's America. Dinesh was saying, was arrested for donating too much, saying that he had a straw donor. Well, he didn't. A couple of friends got together, sent in the checks. He sent the checks in, and it was over the amount. Put him in jail. 8 months, and he was on probation for over 5 years. Are you freaking kidding me? But yet the NGOs are donating to the left, right, left, and center with taxpayer money. You're not supposed to use taxpayer money for political purposes, especially when it went to an NGO. Can you put that back up, Chris? Sorry. Thanks. So up until that point, no one had ever been charged with it, let alone imprisoned. He was one of the first guys that exposed the weaponization that Obama put in place. Obama weaponized the DOJ, and that's Russia, Russia, Russia. That's all of those other things that are coming up. Thanks, Chris. And as we know, and I'll be talking about it next week with Robbie of the UK, Robbie, and about how Obama, Comey, Clinton, what's the other guy's name? Starts with a B. Can't think of it anyway. Is Comey? Anyway, I'm going to get stuck on that. We're going to be talking about them and how it's been exposed, how they knew all along that Russiagate was total BS, fabricated, and they lied under oath and they lied to Congress about it. So I'm sorry, you don't get any due process. You get to go to military court because you're a legislator and a politician. And the clown, yeah. Send them there and let the military judge them, because it ain't happening in these administrative, Soros, Obama, layered, bought for courts and judges. And of course, the attorneys that don't follow conservative constitutional law. Just saying. All right, moving on. Picture 1D. So there we go. In Texas and in Denmark, because in Denmark you have Dutch people, so it's not Dutchmark, it's Denmark. Schools ban smartphones. Can't bring them into the class, can't this, can't that. Student performance went through the roof. Texas is following it for over 5 million students. everywhere because they're having to use their brains, their ears, their five senses to learn. And they're not having to deal with, the sexual education, the ideology, the woke DEI garbage. Thanks, Chris. So that's what we need to do. No phones, smartphones, pads, or anything in the classrooms. And if, you want to use those computing Texas Instruments in math class, maybe, let's get back to the basics, absolute basics, and no more property taxes funding this, because it has been proved across the United States, specifically here in New Hampshire, because I can speak about it, that anywhere from 65 to 85% of our property taxes are funding the public government indoctrination camps. They can't read, they can't write, they can't function. They can't fill out a job form. They can't do anything. They are illiterate. We're down to 35% of the kids in New Hampshire are literate. And according to what level? But yet you go to a school board meeting and you're told, shut up and sit down, pay your taxes. You have no say. No. Yeah, I agree. Congress and Senate, JM, no cell phones, nothing. Yeah, you have to be there and you need to answer to your people. I mean, we looked at, sorry to go off on a tangent, but can't help it. JM always brings up good stuff. Cory Booker going off on a tangent again today. We, the Democrats, have to fight. That's all you ever do. We, the Democrats, have to stand together. You do, right, wrong, or indifferent, illegal, not illegal, ungodly, satanic, or evil. You all stand together and you do it uniformly and in unison. So what the hell are you talking about, Cory? Go put on some Pampers, go into someplace else and do another 24 hours, please. But stop covering him, media. Stop it. He's a blowhard. They all are. They are liars. Liar. They just can't make up enough drama and garbage. All right. Last but not least, before my break, let's go to picture 1E. Who is this lady? Oh, it's supposed to be Dr. Deborah Birx. Does that look like Dr. Deborah Birx? I don't think so. I mean, I realize it's, a couple of years past COVID. But my problem is we all called her Scarf Lady. She never went anywhere without a scarf. And her brother, by the way, was the head of one of the big colleges here in New Hampshire. And she went to visit him and she had a scarf. So I don't believe it's her, in my personal opinion. I want to know where the scarf is. And the other problem I have with this is all of a sudden she's all about immunity, that we should not be doing anything that is going to damage the immunity of the human body. We're closer to a universal cancer vaccine. We already know that there is not one vaccine that's legitimate, that's been studied, that has been proven to stop any transmission or stop any disease, anything of the likeness. So stop with the lying, and just because you added the tagline to preserve the immune system. Baby cakes, you were the ones screaming from the rooftops along with Fauci and Gates that the of 2020 would stop transmission. It would save millions of lives. You could go out and do this and that. You wouldn't need a mask. You wouldn't need this. You could do anything you want. And you had to wear a mask and you had to stand on a circle and nothing changed. Yep, she did get replaced with a drone. Yep. I just, you're still peddling the same BS. You took off the scarf and now you're saying you're all about the immune system. Liar. You were in there with the other two and killed millions of people. And oh, by the way, I was in the ER last night and today with a certain person. And guess what? Dead of summer. It's July. COVID is back. They got freaking masks on. But I thought you had the vaccine. You can't transmit it. You can't catch it. What are you doing? Every time I see a mask with somebody and they walk by me, I hold my breath. I close my eyes till the breeze goes by me because I don't want any of the shedding and the crap that comes off of them. How does this happen? I don't believe it. It's pneumonia. It's the flu. It's something and it's not nice. And it's a respiratory nastiness. But it ain't what they're saying. And we're coming for round, 13? Time to blow that baby up. Got out of there as fast as we can. But be prepared. They're ramping it up. They're revving it up because they know August, September, it's going to be a pretty big exposure time period. So they're getting ready to make mayhem and try to lock people down and mask them and make them sick again because it's the masks that make you sick. Inhaling the crap coming out of your nose and your mouth and inhaling it back in. The body was made to exhale the garbage. And the environment was to burn it up. That's what the sun does, burns it up, kills it. But no, they have you breathing it back in and you believed it hook, line, and sinker. One droplet of anything on the mask makes it null and void. And you sweat, you spit, anything touches it, null and void. Just saying. All right, Chris, let's kick on to break one. And then we'll bring on my guest, Miss Regina Barnes.
Hello.
Hello. How are you?
Jessica Lang. Do you know?
What?
Jessica Lang. That's who I thought of when I saw Burks.
Oh, I'm like, what is she talking about? Okay, yes. Yes. Oh my God. Yeah. Because I kept saying I knew who that is, but I couldn't figure out who it was. And I was thinking somebody from the 60s. You know, she had a little bit of a puffy face, but Jessica Lang, that's who it is. Yeah. Definitely isn't me. But didn't you think that was bizarro? You know, they're
and it's like some of these people, when they come out and they say the opposite of what they said before, that's sort of like a flag for me. You know?
Red flag.
Yeah.
Just to touch on the baby jokes, I am loving these baby jokes with, you know, the mini Trumps and all the different
Kennedy. Senator Kennedy is so cute. I love him.
I know. And I love it because, you know, we've forgotten how to laugh. You know, unless it's a dirty joke or something perverted, you don't laugh.
I know. The babies are hilarious.
But I love them because it's teaching us to laugh. It's relearning that, you know, cute little things are worth repeating. We don't need to continue with the perversion and the sex and the disgustingness. We don't need it. I love whoever did this. So update us. I mean, things are hopping in Hampton, but it's my feeling is that it's going to pretty soon be spilling over into other towns, that you're just the tip of the sword at this point.
Right. And I think it's actually going to be affect nationwide, probably, because we know we got DeSantis talking about property taxes. Trump's hinted about it. Bottom line is they actually have statutory law in New Hampshire, or case law, I can't remember what one it is, that allows assessed values to be comparative to market values. But the problem is the way they're doing these statistical revaluations, they're calling them, is that market value can only be without being subjective, right? You don't want to be subjective when you're trying to determine what something is, what something's worth.
Yeah.
You want the best factual evidence possible. So
Yeah.
you can't determine market value unless you actually recognize the sale.
Correct.
What they're doing is their house is selling in a certain neighborhood. And because of, the market demand and the inflation and all that, some of these houses, some guy might have bid an extra $100,000 for what the house was selling for. So they're now using that amount to assess the whole entire neighborhood.
Yep.
And no one else is even planning on selling their home. So they're taxing an unrealized gain, which you can't do according to the federal government.
Now that part makes sense to me, taxing because I really was a little confused on it. Full disclosure, there's only so much that fits in my blonde little brain. I got just too much other stuff going on. So
yeah, and that's why the more you talk about it, the more you can hopefully get other people to understand.
So a house goes on the market for $600,000, and I'm not making light of that because that's a boatload of money. $600,000, but because we got people from New York, New Jersey, Connecticut,
BlackRock,
Massachusetts, BlackRock, yes, bidding on these, you get into a bidding war because they want the house, they've got the cash, they've got the money, they have the wherewithal to be able to do it. So the price goes up 50,000, 100,000, sometimes 150,000, depending on the house and the location. So right. The house, the people buy it for more money, but that's not the actual value of the house. But yet they're using that as a sale price to determine the tax amount, which is illegal.
Right. But not only are they determining to use the tax amount for that house, but they're using it to determine the tax amounts for other houses that they haven't even physically looked at.
Comparative values.
Right. They're using that one house as a comp to assess the whole neighborhood. And what we're finding is in the subsequent things we've looked at is that some of the houses they have sold, and they've sold for less than what they're assessed at. So how the heck does that work? But forget about all that. The 16th Amendment only authorizes taxes on income. If you don't sell your house, you're not recognizing any income on it. So how should you pay taxes on that amount?
No.
Well, that's exactly what they're doing. And what we're finding out by this is the way they're taxing, and we've recognized is the biggest increases in taxes of all the history of Hampton added together in the past 2-3 years, that all that has been taxed disproportionately. And we've also proved through our neighbor who's been, pretty much me and him have been trying to put all the data together. He's a retired engineer, that the assessments are also disproportional. So we just brought additional information on that to add to our case.
So let me ask you this. So the 16th Amendment says that you can only tax on income only. So if you haven't sold your house, what are you taxing? Well, they're taxing the value of the house initially, I believe, and that was to pay for police and fire and just town stuff. It was never supposed to be for education and the schools, but they tacked it on so that they could legitimately say, well, this is how much your house is worth, and this is the portion you're going to pay, and it's going to cover this, 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 and everybody went, oh, yippee skippy. I want to smack them all in the head, because if they had not put property taxes to fund education, education wouldn't be $28,000 per pupil in New Hampshire, which is higher, I believe, than any other state. It's way up there. If people had been paying, like I paid when I sent my kids to Christian school, I paid, oh God, this is a little while ago, but I think it was $7,000 a year for each one. 7 times 3 is $21,000. If you look at my taxes and what I've paid before I had kids that went into school and after my kids went to college and I had to help, well, I didn't have to, but I chose to help my kids go through college. I was penalized for that. I'm beaten up and insulted by the left, the loonies and the teachers unions and the, come over, Rainbow Red Rover. And I'm saying I should not be funding your child. Meanwhile, I paid taxes to fund their kids as I paid for my kids to put them to get a real education. The price of education would be down where it belongs, and they would all be academically brilliant if they had stopped funding it off the property taxes. So
the more money we give them, okay, now if you look at the increases in Hampton, most of that is going to a local education, as you stated earlier.
Yep.
Look at the products that's coming out of the schools. I'd rather take away $10-15 million from them a year and see what we get then.
Yep.
Because the problem is the money that we're funding for this, same thing with the towns. It's not going to what we want to see. It's not even going to the teachers.
Correct.
It's going to the bureaucrats and the administrations and all the people they're listening to, the NGOs, the association of this, the association of that, the New Hampshire Municipal Association, the School Board Association, the Police Chief Association. They got them all. And it's all bureaucrats, unelected, and they're running the show.
Yep.
And the politicians do what the people that pay the most want done.
Yep. Let me ask you another question. So when you get your tax bill, it's and you look up I think it says assessed value. And so you've got a $600,000 house and it says the assessed value is $400,000. Well, how does that happen? And then when you sell it, your taxes and the real estate, charges and everything are based on the sale price, but yet to the town, it's a different number. Why are these numbers so different?
Well, market value is going to change. Okay. I mean, so the assessed value should be determined more or less on market value.
Yep.
Because like I said, you can't have market value on someone's home that didn't sell. So the assessed value should be more based on what the actual physical property data is. And then the other thing that we found in Hampton is that the data that they're using to make up this assessed value based on market value is not even accurate in some cases. So any way you look at it, the work is sloppy. There's no due diligence being done by the Department of Revenue Administration, which is what their function is supposed to be, the municipal, assessment department or whatever they call it. That's not getting done. The assessed value and the market value should not be the same number. If so, then why is there two different terminologies? Assessed value is what your town is assessed, what you pay taxes on. Like you said, the services every year. Spending, the town has done. Unfortunately, in New Hampshire, that's all in the property tax. We don't have any other way to cover it. So that's something that, we should think about going forward. They have thought about some things that Concord to different ways of making revenue that I don't especially like. I don't really think the government should be in the revenue making business because it's not their money, it's taxpayer money.
Correct. Well, we all know taxpayer money that they've been stealing out of your paycheck in cahoots with your employer when you're supposed to be paid the full amount for that. Your agreement was with the employer to work this many hours for this much money, and they're taxing it before you get it. That's completely illegal and unconstitutional. They then take it and they send it overseas and use it for, number one, it's illegal to take it because they're stealing it before, and breaking the contract between you and the employer. They're then sending it to anywhere but here for foreign use. And, and then they turn around and say, oh, If you look at the debt clock, here's the other thing that I, kind of put two and two together. I may be wrong, but this is how it's coming together for me. You look at the debt clock and they're like, oh, each individual owes 200,000, blah, 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 give or take. Taxes, that's the debt for every taxpayer. No, you stole the taxes from my paycheck and broke my contract. You sent it overseas. You used it for purposes not intended. And now you tell me you overspent? That's your freaking problem, not mine.
The property taxes, they need to be eliminated. The only reason they were created was so that it could guarantee money going to the government.
Right.
What it should be is user fee. You use something, you pay for it. You have a kid in the school, you pay whatever it is a kid. But they don't want to do that because they know no one's going to want to participate in it. So they're forcing you to fund them through property taxes. And what we found out is that they're not proportional. And we've already had court law in New Hampshire that has ruled that you cannot. They ruled one of the way they were funding education at one point, they ruled that as disproportional. Well, we have proved the same thing. And you can say, oh, you don't know what you're talking about, or no, you take the numbers. If the numbers aren't proportional, then the taxation is disproportional. And that's what we've proved. And that's what we've submitted to Kelly Ayotte. It's in regards to the taxation of the millions that they've raised in taxes, and it's also regarding the assessments. There are towns and there are neighborhoods in this town that were assessed at a higher rate, I guess you call it, than other towns based on certain sales and a market inflation. But like you stated earlier in the show, surprisingly, commercial doesn't recognize it. It's only single family homes. Why is that? Well, look up New World Order, look up Big Brother government, look up you will own nothing and be happy. That is why. And in New Hampshire, we actually have law that allows a municipality, and Hampton has done so to its demise, that classifies an Airbnb the same way that you classify single family homes. So what does that mean? That they're assuming that a single family home is a potential revenue maker by having an Airbnb in it.
Wow. What's next? In-law apartments?
Yeah. And it's all in statute and it's all proposed. I always been warning about when your town has a bunch of zoning amendments, just vote no.
Yep.
Because what this is all doing, these HOP grants, all this new Invest New Hampshire crap that Sununu came up with from the APA money, it's all rigged to do this to the state. We've already done most of it in Hampton, so to be honest with you, it's not going to change much for us. But towns like you and small towns all the way up north, it will distort the F out of them. So, and some of us have been warning about it for a while, and it's happening. And we got to let Trump know about it. He's the only one that can stop it. They're breaking federal law.
Yeah.
And that's what needs to be exposed.
And that's what's being buried, that the federal judges in the state are ignoring and telling Trump that he can't this. The bottom line is, and I've said it, and you've said it a bazillion times, 3 branches of government. You got 3 branches of government in your state and 3 branches of government in your national government. And the executive branch is the president and or your governor. And they make the rules and regulations and statutes and whatever they want, but it only applies to the employees of the state, not you and me. And that's where people are stupid.
And so if you have an employee of the state, like the selectmen, violating federal and international appraisal standards, assessing standards, taxation standards, then they, in my view, should be removed from office. And that's item 6 in our relief sought that we sent to our Ayotte. We want her to send the DOJ after them the same way they got rid of the town clerk here for violating their oath of office. Simple as that. Because the AG can be used by the governor for those elected officials in the state that are not adhering to constitutional law and in their case, statutory law, because they're supposed to follow it.
But I'm kind of thinking that's not going to happen, because that means he would have to go over David Scanlon and the multiple lawsuits against him for breaking his oath of office and breaking federal law. Daniel Richard.
Well, actually, originally we had the letter written to hold them all. We wanted them all removed.
Right.
And then we're like, you know what?
Stick to what you need for your purpose.
Just do it. If everyone does their own city and town, then we forget about the State House. Let's just clean up Hampton,
Oh, I agree, but I just find it funny.
No, it's true. Like, it's like we're asking for Mella to do something that he's complicit in.
Yep. Well, if you see in Daniel Richards' lawsuit, the two of them are in there. It's, right. It's absolutely amazing, wash, rinse, repeat, same name, and it's all up in Concord. It's all up in the State House, and they're so corrupt that they're not doing anything about Hampton or Amherst or Nashua. Nashua with the two commercial businesses. What are the aldermen saying? Oh, right. It's a private sale. We don't get involved in it. Excuse me, when it sells for 4 times the price, that tax assessment better be in the top of your list.
Yeah, because I can tell you, we got the example in here. They did it in Hampton to the whole neighborhood just for one house, because some guy came in and offered $100,000 over the asking price. So how is that a real market value? To me, it's not. Yeah, it's because this house actually sold for that. But you have to remember, all this inflation has been created by the government.
Correct.
And now they're profitizing off of it. Why? Because the only people that ever benefit from inflation
is themselves.
Are the government people. I mean, John Birch has been telling us that for 70 years.
Yep.
So, I mean, it's all unraveling right now. And Trump's like got his radar on everything. It's freaking awesome.
It is awesome. And you just sit back, listen to the code. You don't have to listen to all the grifters, because they're getting
anyone anymore. I look at Trump's truths and then I go on to the people I like on Twitter. Other than
that's what I love about it, because he's back and he's in. That's who we listen to. And the truths and the rest of these grifters are no longer, able to push out the garbage and then have this one say that for them and this one say it for them. This one calls me up, this one calls you up, they call up Stiletto and blah, 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 blah. Why? So they can create drama, create more people to follow them, try and drag in some more subscriptions, and they're lying. They're lying.
Yeah, I just want to, I just like to use it, some of them might be right sometimes, but there's no one out there that has that knows everything. And maybe Trump or whoever, I say Trump, the whole conspiracy about Trump right now. But what people need to realize, forget about Trump, the person. Think about, what does Trump represent? Mm-hmm. That's what I'm talking about when I say Trump. I'm talking about America first, make America great again. That man that they show on TV as Donald Trump, he is the one responsible for it. So if you stand with him, that's what you stand for. You stand for America first and make America great again. And
I agree. And he's doing his job and following his oath of office that very few else are doing. And that's what you're standing for. Making the rule of law true, making the courts, how do I want to say this? Having the courts follow the Constitution, making sure that administrative law is not superseding constitutional law. And that's what we're seeing in these judges from East, Armpit.
And the only freaking court that can stop a president is the Supreme Court of the United States. That's it. There's no other.
Yep.
So these other guys, they can just, go cluck in their hen houses. I'm sick of hearing them. That LaPlante guy, I love the fact that it's blowing up in their faces. The farther they go, the more hypocritical they look.
I love it. Let's do, because we're kind of down on time, and I'd rather talk about, local stuff, because that's what the show's about. But let's do let's go to break 2 real quick, Chris, and then we're going to come back with a couple of Trump truths. I love that picture. I was just going to say that my guest is Regina Barnes. She's returning with me to go over a couple of Trump truths because we want to leave happy and positive because there's just so much garbage out there in the world. Watching my language, I don't want to owe the swear jar. All you have to do is turn on the news and instantly be. You could love, I don't know, peaches, and if you watch the news for more than half an hour, you're going to hate peaches. And right. that's how they're destroying people with the television and my dad used to call it the boob tube. And yeah, not as in these, boob as in this. All right, let's look at picture 2, please. I love this. Trump truth. He's showing how much money was being given by taxpayers. 1.3 billion to Columbia, 700 million to Harvard, 53 billion to Harvard Endowment, 15 billion to Columbia Endowment. Thanks, Chris. This is federally funded, but yet their savings accounts are billions and billions of dollars. They don't give scholarships. They're not supporting their people. They're taking money right, left, and center from every country under student visas and not paying, again, the proper amount of taxes on it. What say you?
Right. Yep, exactly 100%. The endowments, and I got to tell you, and those are just 2 of them. And we're giving them hundreds of millions, billions of dollars a year.
Yep. And subsidizing loans.
Yeah, that's what we did in New Hampshire. Look what we did. Look at all that COVID money that went to the politicians and the law firms. And then you got the little mom and pop down the street that I went to go talk to. He wanted to know how he could maybe get a little more. He got $400. The guy wasn't able to open.
That was
$400 in COVID money.
Yep, that was a good friend of mine. I think she got like $200 or $300. Destroyed her business, couldn't open, lost all her clients,
struggling. And Shaheen and Anagnos and, the guy from Auto Fair.
Yep.
Millions of dollars. Millions.
Yep.
You got the big ass places here in Hampton. Like some of them got $350,000 for this one, $350,000 for that one. But you got the guy that's not a member of the chamber. He was lucky to get 20 grand for his businesses.
Yeah, disgusting.
Pick and choose, just like they do with the, we're going to target this single family neighborhood so we can get these guys out of here. And we can get people in here that can either afford a higher tax bill or we'll just demolition the whole place and put freaking condos up everywhere.
Right, and put more people in there that are going to vote for us. Yeah. Right. No, thank you. Picture 2A, Chris. We've got another solar eclipse, and I'm really excited because I got to see the last one, and my mom and my daughter-in-law, we literally sat out and watched it, and I've never had the luxury of that, and it was really nice. So we've got another one, August 2nd. Hopefully we'll be able to see it here in New Hampshire. It's not going to be cloudy, but the skies will darken for 6 minutes. Again, that is, depends on where you are. So, but it's considered, 2027. Oh, 2027. Wait a minute. I thought
So 2 years from Saturday.
That's weird because I'm positive the one I said 2025. All right, well, I'm a nitwit or they changed them. So, okay, never mind. Just write it down on your calendar. 2027, there's going to be an eclipse. Darn, I was all ready for Saturday.
Oh, it was fun too. Yeah, that would be fun. We had fun watching them last time.
Darn. All right, picture 2B, another Trump truth. New Jersey. So again, I mentioned this at the beginning. Elaine Haba has been reappointed for U.S. Attorney. So it's really cool, that Pam Bondi and Trump definitely playing 5D chess. And I think that was one of the best moves. And I can't wait till this just starts snowballing. Thanks, Chris.
Yes. And then, like you said, we got Janine and Judge Pirro for D.C.
I know.
Man. If anyone knows about the treason of Obama, it's her.
Well, it seems like there's an awful lot of information, and that is definitely snowballing. And I just really hope, with the amount of evidence, that he goes to Gitmo, and that.
Well, the way I look at it, with Obama, you get Hillary, you get Biden, which takes you to Kamala.
Yep.
And it takes you to all the rhinos too, because in New Hampshire, you had Sununu and Shaheen that were ensuring that their plan went, through with the elections and everything they were doing. And the Sununu mouthpiece on CNN and MSNBC, making sure they kept that narrative going in New Hampshire. And then you got Trump that actually admits that he doesn't get New Hampshire. He actually said that at one point.
Correct.
I forget what word he used. He used a good word for it. It's true. I don't get it. And I've lived here my whole life. I mean, what are we doing here? Are we red? Are we white? Are we blue?
Yeah.
We got blue in DC. We got rhino red here. It's been like that for as long as I can remember. We're not a red state. We're not a blue state.
I don't know what we are. We're a mini DC, corrupt as hell.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, my friend, as always, it's been a fabulous discussion. Everybody make sure you go to New Hampshire Muckraker and Truth Bomb Tuesday. I've posted it out. I'm going to put it back on Telegram so you can watch everything that Regina's doing, because she's just beating the bushes and getting up to the State House, which everybody needs to do. And if you don't have the time, you need to be writing letters and or supporting all of us that are doing the fight for you. It's not. But you should go.
You should take one trip up there. It's beautiful. It's ours. We should enjoy it, not just them.
Yep.
And
ask for a copy of the Constitution of New Hampshire, which we've paid for.
Exactly.
I love it. All right, my friend. See you in 2 weeks. Behave. And
all right, yes. Stay cool.
You too.
Bye.
There we have it. Thank you. New Hampshire Muckraker and Truth Bomb Tuesday with Regina Barnes. Always, always bringing the truth, hard hitting, and putting her money where her mouth is, or shall I say, putting the affidavit where her mouth is, like the rest of us. So with that, I'm going to say good night. Don't forget, on Telegram, my broadcasters, we have Real to Real News with Ron Flosser, and again, sponsored by SNN. And that is Stiletto D and myself, Jocelyn Davis. See you tonight. Enjoy the outro. See you next week. We got Robbie from the UK.